Good morning. Our topic that we discuss is all about Filipino grievances against Governor Wood. Filipino grievances against Governor Wood is not a work of individual author, but a collective output of a group of Filipino politicians who were forced by circumstances to write against a common political enemy. The two leading lawyers who stand out to join the Filipino politicians against the political enemy are Jose Abad Santos and George Bocobo. On November 17, 1926, the upper and lower house of the Philippines legislature adopted the draft of a joint resolutions. Jose Abad Santos was born in San Fernando, Pampanga. He was a pensionado and studied law in Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois. After he passed the bar in 1911, he served as assistant attorney at the Bureau of Justice and later rose to the rank of Attorney General. He was appointed Undersecretary of Justice in 1921, but gave up the position at the height of the cabinet crisis in 1923. He also, at the height of the cabinet crisis in 1923, served as chief level counsel of the Senate President and the Speaker of the House of Representatives. And it was during this time when he joined the anti-Wood campaign. He was also appointed Associate Justice of the Supreme Court in 1932 and became Chief Justice 9 years later. On December 30, 1941, he administered the oath of office of the President Quezon and Vice President Osmeña for their second term. Before Quezon left the country in 1942, he appointed Abad Santos as acting president of the Commonwealth Government. On April 11, 1942, the Japanese army arrested him in Barili, Cebu, and he was subsequently brought to Mindanao. On May 7, 1942, was executed in Malabang, Lanao in the presence of his sons Pipito. And George Bocobo, born in Herona, Tarlac in 1907, he earned his Bachelor of Law degree from Indiana University under the Pensionado program of the colonial government. He started his career as law clerk in the Executive Bureau in 1911. He began teaching in the UP College of Law in 1917. He was appointed full professor of law and acting dean of the college. He was a close associate of Manuel L. Quezon and served as one of his speechwriters. He also became president of the University of the Philippines from 1934 to 1939 and associate justice of the Supreme Court from 1942 and 1944.
The grievance against Governor Wood, historical context. So, Americans arrived here in the Philippines in 1898. Noong dumating ang mga Amerikano dito sa Pilipinas, taong 1898, humiling ang mga Pilipino ng kalayaan, which is hindi naman sinabing no ng mga Amerikano. Instead, binigyan nila, inappoint nila ang mga Pilipino sa government positions. Inaasahan nilang makalimutan nito, ng mga ito, ang paghingi or pagdemand ng kalayaan. The appointment of Francis Borton Harrison as the Governor General and the passage of John's Law in 1916 changed the landscape political here in the Philippines. So, Francis Borton Harrison was an American-born Filipino statesman who served in the United States House of Representatives and was appointed to be Governor General of the Philippines. He was born on December 18, 1873, died at November 21, 1957. The Jones Law categorically established that the American governor would give the Filipino independence. So, ang mga Amerikano ay gumawa ng written promises, which is ibibigay nila ang kalayaang hinihingi ng mga Pilipino kapag nagkaroon ng mga ito ng stable na government. Hindi nila sinabi ang specific na date, ngunit para sa mga Quezon at sa mga officials, the written promises was already a significant achievement. The Jones Law also created a bicameral Congress that gave opportunity to the politicians based on the policy making. So, bicameral is the lawmaking body of the system of the government where authority is shared between the two separate houses or chamber that work together in making law. In United States, the two chambers are also called the House of Representatives and the Senate. We are referred them collectively as the Congress. Quezon led the Senate and the House of Representatives elected Sergio Esmeña as the Speaker, expecting that in the coming years, American officials would be convinced on what Filipino compliant now with the requirements of Jones Law and therefore must be given independence. So Sergio Esmeña is the first Speaker of the Philippines. He was elected in 1907 at the age of 29, and he was the younger ever to become a speaker and the longest hold the speakership in 1907 to 1922.
Leonard Wood is a United States Army Major General. Became the military governor of Cuba from 1899 to 1902, and then Governor General of the Philippines from 1921 to 1927. In 1903, he arrived at the Philippines. He became the commanding governor of the Moro province. He was not only the head of the civil government with a legislative government responsible for 5 districts, but he is also the commanding general troops in the Department of Mindanao and Sulu. After years, he became the military commander of the Philippine Division. He conducted an investigation to which he covered 48 provinces into which the island is divided. The investigation is about the conditions, geographic, climatic, natural, human, and governmental, if the Filipinos are capable of self-government. William Cameron Forbes was an American investment banker and diplomat. He served as Governor General of the Philippines from 1909 to 1913 and Ambassador of the United States to Japan from 1930 to 1932. Siya ay pinanganak noong May 21, 1870 in Milton, Massachusetts, United States. Namatay siya noong December 24, 1959. At ang kanyang pinag-aralan ay Harvard University. At ang kanyang mga magulang ay William Hathaway Forbes and Edith Emerson Forbes. Warren G. Harding. was the 29th President of the United States from 1921 until his death in 1923. A member of the Republican Party, he was one of the most popular United States President to the point. Siya ay pinanganak noong November 2, 1865 in Blooming Grove, Ohio, United States. Namatay siya noong August 2, 1923 sa San Francisco, California, United States. At ang kanyang asawa ay si Florence Harding. Vice President naman noon ay si Calvin Coolidge. Presidential term March 4, 1921 hanggang August 2, 1923. Place of burial Harding Tomb, Marion, United States. Thanks.
The third paragraph of the document states that what promoted them to write the resolution was Wood's executive order. Number 37 is abolished the Board of Control that Governor General Francis Barton Harrison created during his term. Francis Barton was an American-born Filipino statesman who serving in the United States House of Representatives and was appointed Governor General of the Philippines by President of the United States Woodrow Wilson. The Board of Control was important to Filipino because they were given voting powers and they could even outvote the governor if they will vote as a bloc. The last paragraph of the document states that they are using it to appeal to the judgment and conscience of the American people to support their stand and uphold their political rights. The text that will be presenting below is taken from Gregorio F. Zaide and Sonia Zaide. Document sources of Philippine history. The document was originally published as appendix of Maximo M. Callow's Philippine government under the Jones Law. Gregorio F. Zaide was a Filipino historian, author, and politician from the town of Pagsanjan, Laguna, in the Philippines. A multi-awarded author, Zaide wrote 67 books and more than 500 articles about history. He is known as the Dawn of Filipino historiographer.